What's up, everybody? It's Eli here from TreeFall Studios, and today I am going to be showing you how I'm reviving a couple of game dev projects from the grave. If you've been following along with my videos on this channel recently, you will know that I'm on a game development crunch. We are moving from the Unity engine to the Unreal Engine, and in doing so, I am trying to finish off all of my started projects that I've started over the last couple of years, put a couple months of work into, maybe 6 months of work into, and then shelve them for later. All of those projects that had any time, investment, fan expectation, anything like that, I'm trying my hardest to go in and finish all of those projects over the next 2 months and get them released so that I don't have to switch them over and start over in a new engine. Today's video is going to be focusing on Pic-A-Block, and it's crazy because I actually started development on this game in 2022, and you can actually go back on the channel and watch some of my early dev live streams for the game. I worked on the game for months and then just put it to the side as I focused on other projects to come out first instead, but I would love to save this project from the game dev graveyard and show you guys what I have done to finish the game and get it across the finish line. I'd also like to mention that Journey of a Special Average Balloon, which was a Wii U exclusive, will be making its way to PlayStation. I didn't want to leave that game stranded on Wii U because you can't buy it there anymore. It had an interesting concept in the beginning. You know, I think that the game has some potential to be a nice franchise. I've got a lot of ideas for a sequel to really improve upon the original. So we're trying to get the original ported out so it's not lost to time and you guys can play it on the PlayStation pretty soon. But in this video, we're going to be going over everything that is new in Pic-A-Block, and we'll go over Journey of Special Average Balloon in a later video. So let's hop right in. Let me show you guys the game running on the PlayStation and prepare to have your minds blown. Alrighty guys, so now you are taking a look at Pic-A-Block. This is the title screen. So first off, I absolutely love this title screen. I think the game itself looks absolutely amazing. You can just see right here the high definition graphics we've got going on, the light coming through the blinds, lighting up the couch, lighting up the table. We've got light shafts coming through the window. We have full reflections on the marble vase here. You can see it's reflecting other parts of the living room where we have that snake ear plant. You can see we've got our little blocks that build up our levels. You can see we have a photo here on the table, which is a teaser Easter egg. It's got a picture screenshot of a Tilting Tiles Temple Trials level, and you can see I've got a little extra detail in here for my East Coast boys. The coasters on the table have a map of North Carolina on it, which is where our development studio is based and located. So lots of little details that are getting added to this game to make this absolutely phenomenal. So this game originally started in 2022, and if you go back and watch those live streams, you can watch me model that snake ear plant live. I modeled those side end tables, and I modeled the table where the levels take place, and I modeled this room. But everything I needed to get to finish the game to the finish line, I modeled this couch recently, this past month, the coasters, some other things that go into the room. I'll have to show you when we start. So let's go ahead and press the X button. You can see we have a very subtle title menu loading in here, and you can see it animates to let you know what you're selected on. I have to put a tutorial in here so the menu is not completely done, even though this game is pretty much done. You can see, I'll show you the credits real quick, just because it goes to a different part of the level. I just made this rug this week. I made those wicker baskets this week. The outlets, the plant over there in the left, the books, all sorts of stuff. But anyways, I think this looks really good. So you can look here. You can see all the Patreons. If you want to subscribe to us on patreon.com, you can get your name in the credits of the games like this. And you can see this awesome new loading screen where it just has the subtle black come in and the little block bouncing up and down. All of that stuff was made in this past month. So let's jump into the level select so you guys can check this out. Oh, well, this is actually not a current build. My bad. I was going to let you guys know some of the new things I've done to the level select screen. So this isn't actually the most current build, but the newest build actually has animations on all of these level icons, but this shows you the levels good enough. So you can see there are 30 levels, and you can click around here, and every level has some information. You can also see the best score, 150. That's like placeholder. It's because it's not loading save data. That'll save whenever you complete a level or whatever. So you can see it has level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as the name, and then it lets you know in quotations what the image is supposed to be. It lets you know what size the level is, whether it's a 5x5, 7x7, or 11x11, and then it lets you know what your best score is. If you look at this, this is a big selection of levels. It might not look like that much just looking at it right here, but I can tell you when I tried to figure out just level 12 for the first time by myself, it took me about an hour to solve this one puzzle. These first 10 puzzles are pretty easy because they're the small grids and they're kind of teaching you how to play. But once you move into the 7x7s and especially the 11x11s, these puzzles might take up to an hour to complete, 30 minutes, on average for a lot of the levels, depending on your, eye for puzzles, I guess, for how well you can put these pieces together. So I'm really thinking that this game probably has, for the average player, 5 to 10 hours of content, which is pretty crazy compared to some of our other games. I just think that this is going to really surprise people. So you can see you have all of these levels. I will show you an easy level. Let's just go to this pyramid here. So you jump in, and you can see we've got a lot of stuff going on. Let me actually go ahead, and I turned off the animation. So there's animations. You can also restart the level. So you can see there's animations where the camera flies in on default, and then the cubes animate in themselves, the thumbnail of the level animates in, and then the cursor animates in. So there is so much stuff going on. And then if you look over here on the bottom left, you have your 4 abilities, which are what you use to solve the puzzle. So the main point of this game is to use these blocks that you're given on this living room table and create the image you see on the right side of the screen, this thumbnail here. And you can see it shows you the grid, so you can kind of count exactly where the blocks need to go. And then on your left, you have these 4 symbols. The one that is bouncing is the one that is selected. That would be to delete a block. So if you press X, you delete it. If you press L1 and R1, you can cycle through your abilities. The second one is a freeze block. So you can freeze a block and it will hold itself in place. And then you have left, right. So you can push a block right and you can push a block left. Those are the 4 ways that you can use to move blocks to create the shapes. So the real deep puzzle comes into play when you realize, okay, let's delete this block, and you can see all of the blocks fell down. So basically, you can get blocks. Blocks have to go into the certain color slots. If you look at the puzzle, there might be, when you have new colors available, this one is pretty simple because you only have a single color. But when you have multiple colors, you might not need, let's say, a green block to go below level 3. So you have to think in your head, if I delete this block, if I move this block left or right and all the blocks above it fall, will the block that I need to go on row number 3 fall too short? Do I need to freeze these blocks? Do I need to freeze this one? Should I push this one over here? Where should the block come from? Which one do I have to get out of the way in order to get the block that I need into the correct spot? Those are all the types of thinking questions that come into your head while you're trying to solve these puzzles. And trust me, it looks simple, but it gets super complicated. So another little bit of the game dev details here, you can see we have our grid and it matches our thumbnail. You move your cursor around the screen. and you have these little selection boxes that show you the grid. When you are hovering over a box, the selection box will animate and turn full color, and then when you leave that box, it will actually go more transparent than it already is. And you can see when you've frozen a block, it turns black and it will not animate, so you know that that block is frozen. Tons of little details in this game, and you can see when you delete, the cursor has an animation. When you move to the left, let's unfreeze this one. When you unfreeze or freeze, the cursor has an animation that's different. When you move to the left and to the right, the cursor does different animations. So there's animations for all the 2D pieces of art. There's animations for these things in 3D. You can see, like, let's show you just an example here. You can delete these blocks, and then, like, this is what I'm talking about. If you want to push this one over to the right, well, all of the blocks are calculating where they should be based on the other blocks in the level. So if you push this over to the right, everything above it will fall. If you push one of these over to the left, that will fall. So you have to calculate in your head each move that you take, what it is going to do to the rest of the level, and is that going to mess up or help you get to the picture on the right. And every single move that you complete, whether it is a freeze, unfreeze, a delete, a push, those are all counting up in the left-hand corner, which is showing your move counter. So there is an optimal and efficient way to beat all these levels, but it's much more difficult to find the most optimal way to beat the levels, because there's so many ways you can beat each level. There's multiple ways to beat it. So it just saves your score, so you can actually try and go for high scores against yourself for fun replayability, and you can just try to get a better score. If you press triangle, similar to tilting tiles, it will restart the level. I've also built in an option. I really love the camera flying in, but if you're stuck on a level and you keep dying over and over and over, or keep pressing things in the wrong, and keep getting blocks in the wrong spaces, it might get annoying to watch the camera animations every single time. So you can turn that off in the pause menu, and the level will instantly just build itself, and you can start playing faster. You can also see the level reset is extremely quick. That's like about 2 seconds. And you can see our standard pause screen here, where we have exit level, are a few options between the music and then the cameras. Alrighty, so to beat this level, we just have to make a simple pyramid. So we need nothing on the top row. We need to delete these two, delete this one, and delete this one. You can see when you beat a level, it will hide the cursor. It will show a level complete logo. I think this build is actually broken. So you were able to see that when you complete a level, it shows a level complete sign. It animates in, animates out. The cursor hides itself, and the level spins around twice, and then it will load the next level. This one I was doing some different testing on, so I don't think the loading screens are all hooked up to get you to the next level, because I was testing some trophy stuff. But I will get that fixed for the final build, obviously. But let's go take a look at a bigger level. Let's just go to 7x7 so you can see the size and scope. All right, so this is a 7x7 grid, and you can already see, look at how many blocks you have and all the different blocks on the right. You can see that you don't need any of these green blocks. They're just in the way, but you can't just delete all the green blocks instantly because you don't need them, because if you just start deleting willy-nilly, you're going to start losing the blocks you need. As in this one, for example, I just deleted a green block. You might think that, oh, I don't need those. Well, it dropped this sun down too low because you need the yellow blocks in this top corner right here. So you have to think, you got to look at that picture and think, okay, I need the yellow in the top left, the white in the top right, the brown in the middle, and the blue on the bottom. And you got to look at this set of blocks and try to figure out how to get all of those blocks in the right positions. I can explain that to you, and that might come across well in this devlog. You might think, hey, that sounds pretty awesome. I'm really into puzzles, and this is going to get my brain thinking. But you really won't understand how difficult this is until you start playing it and start making mistakes and watching the blocks that you thought you had fall into the wrong position. Because the whole point is like you don't want to freeze every single block. You want to go for a high score. You want to freeze only the blocks you need to freeze in order to try to get the lowest score, and then move things around. So there is a lot of replayability. This game will take people a long time to figure out, and it's going to be an absolute blast. I can't wait to see what people think. A couple of other details that you can do with the controller. I'll go ahead and jump in. You can see, so we got some basic shapes here, basically some pyramids, tombs. This is supposed to be a castle, smiley face. We've got some numbers here. You can see when the grid sizes get bigger, you can kind of make out what these are supposed to be. Tree, a mailbox, a golfing tee, the green, a moon, a sunny day. And you can see we've got our PlayStation buttons all spread out in here. Then we got forests, and then we got our TreeFall characters. We have Rocket Mouse, we have Pitterpot, we have the last Tiki, and we have Fripp. So these are just so awesome. I love this little fractal looking pixel art, these little block squares. I got a suggestion from someone in the Discord. I should make a quilt out of this. I'm actually going to make a t-shirt with all these images on it, and I think it's going to be really, really awesome. But let's jump into Rocket Mouse, for instance. And you can see the blocks animate in different ways depending on the size of the level. But there's also some things you can do. You can zoom the camera out if you want to see more of the level, and you can zoom in if you need to zoom all the way in. This is as close as you can zoom in for this, but this level is pretty big. You can see more of the living room whenever you have this smaller grid level. You can see if you zoom all the way out, there's like a subtle fan going through the roof on the ceiling. There's a ceiling fan. You can see the things on the underneath of the coffee table. You can, when you zoom out, you can see the books and the other baskets and things like that under the side tables. So basically, this game in 2022 had the 5x5 grid set up and the code working for most of it, but I created the 7x7 and 11x11 grids this month, as well as basically all the levels. There were only like 3 levels that I had made back in the day, maybe, and I had like half of the models in the room. So I finished all the models, finished the lamp, the plant, the pictures, all of that stuff. Did all of the levels, all of the models, got all the code working, did bigger levels, hooked up the pause screen, the title screen, and all of that stuff. So it's crazy, guys, how much work has gone into this game in the shortest amount of time possible. This game is actually coming out in a few weeks. I'm actually submitting it. You're going to be watching this devlog on, I believe, 8/8, so August 8th. The release date of this is going to be like the 19th or the 20th or something like that. It's already finished the game. You're not looking at the finished build, but there's a almost finished build with only a couple touches left. It's got the music in it. This one has no music, and only like half of the trophies are working in this one. And, you know, the levels aren't all hooked up, but there's a newer build that's almost done, and it's going to be submitted within the next couple of days. And you guys should be able to play this in just a couple of weeks. So guys, let me know what you think of Pic-A-Block. I can't believe that I'm actually going to be able to get this game out. This is kind of like a dream come true. Back in 2022, if I would have finished this game right when I was working on it, it would not have been as good as it is now. I've gotten so much more experience over the last couple of years. The level design and the code is so much better in this game, and the modeling and the lighting, everything is so much better than it would have been. This game is actually going to be one of my favorite games I've probably released in a long time. And guys, I'm going to make this really cheap. I'm planning on doing a dual marketing strategy because I have so many games. I can't really space them all out over the next couple of months. So I'm going to need 2 games to come out on the same day. So I'm going to release this game and Journey of Special Average Balloon on the same day, and I don't want one to overshadow the other. And I'm kind of interested to see how releasing 2 games on the same day goes. If it, you know, makes one game like overshadow one and I'm like competing with myself, or if they sell more because I'm kind of marketing it as a TreeFall day and you pick up both at the same time if you're a TreeFall fan. So I want to make them the exact same price, and I'm going to make Journey of Special Average Balloon be $1.99. This game was originally, this is a much larger game. This was going to be a $5 game, but I think, just to be honest, because I just want people to play it and let me know what they think of the puzzles, I'm just going to make it $1.99 and just lose some money on it probably, just so, based on the dev time and investment in it. just so we can see and how they compare. Like if they launch on the exact same day and they're the exact same price, I'd like to see if they sell the same amount of copies, or if Pic-A-Block sells more than Balloon, or if Balloon sells more than Pic-A-Block. And I'm going to be making a video about it, talking about it, so people can learn from it. It'll be very interesting. I think I'm just going to do that because I have so many other games coming out over the next couple of months. Like if I lose a little bit of money on Pic-A-Block, making it cheaper, well, the new Tilting Tiles game is going to be a little bit more expensive. It's going to cost $7.99 because it's got, you know, a ton of levels and multiplayer and all these features and stuff like that. So I'm probably going to make it up between the different games and things like that. And I've got a couple other games that are going to be releasing that are going to be very cheap. I'm going to get a couple more out that I'm trying to get out the door that are basically just experimental projects, and I'm probably going to go back to the 49-cent or 99-cent experimental price range. And I've got another $7.99 game coming out and another $5 game coming out. So we're going to be hitting all the price ranges, and I'll probably make a a sales video covering all of that to let my game developers know and learn some stuff from my experience. But thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Pic-A-Block? Does this game look interesting to you? I think I might have over-explained it, but let me know in the comments below. I got to give a huge shout out to everybody who supports TreeFall Studios on patreon.com. And I got to give a personal shout out to Mandy, Shark and Minnow, Space by Name, Thomas Stewart, Mr. Troy, and Jamil DeBeer. Thank you guys for what you do for TreeFall Studios on patreon.com. Guys, I hope you've been enjoying the influx of TreeFall Studios content and the slamming that we're getting of all these TreeFall games over the next couple of months. Let me know if you're looking forward to more. And without further ado, I will catch you in the next video.